This whale does not make sense to me because Laboon's not that kind of whale. This is gonna be our whale. It's literally the same whale with the same smile. I think Oda's gonna have flying whales guide the Straw Hats to Laugh Tale near the end of the story. Pink Sake is the key to get there. In chapter 103, it's titled The Whale, and we see Luffy riding on top of Laboon, and it looks like Laboon is flying over the waves. Oh my, he's literally riding a whale. The Marines trying to stop him and other pirates trying to stop him. But it's Luffy flying regardless to Laugh Tale. There's too many whale references for this to be anything close to a coincidence. Brooke starts playing Bing Sake and the whales like it and respond to it. There's sure to be a moonlit night again. They literally talked about the moon here. I got a question for you, chat, and a theory I'm unsure anybody's ever said. And I think oh my God, hold the fuck on. This might be an insane theory. You have to hear me out. This is actually a solid theory. Something's been bugging me, chat. You wanna know what's been bugging me? A couple things. This is how my brain makes connections, and I'm gonna give you the exact rundown play by play. I'm looking at this whale, and for some reason out of the entire panel, this whale does not make sense to me. You may be wondering, well, what do you really mean by that? Well, it looks like Whitebeard's Moby Dick, doesn't it? And I am going somewhere with this because it has this kind of ribbed look to it. This kind of ribbed across the bottom of the whale look. But this is Whitebeard's ship. It's just a ship. It doesn't have the same thing. But still, something's bothering me about this whale being called Laboon. Why? Because Laboon's not that kind of whale. Laboon does not have ribs on the bottom of his belly. He's completely smooth. But then it got me thinking, wait, where have I seen this before? This is gonna be our whale. So if this is this whale with these ribs here and the eye fits perfectly, that also has the red poneglyph inside of it, what is that? My leading theory would be that's a Zoan devil fruit user. Somebody turned it into stone with Boa's devil fruit. So eventually, this is going to be an ancient person that has withstood the test of time because they were frozen there. But it's not a tree, though. A devil fruit that can go in the water? Ooh, maybe it's not a devil fruit then. Maybe it is devil fruit, though. Nah, chat, I think I'm onto something. It has roots. Chat, I'm onto something, though. This is not Laboon. Look at the shape of it. We've been inside of it. How is it alive? Chat, y'all are acting like Laboon doesn't have a motherfucker living in him right now. I think the folk not just grow around him. That wasn't a Lunarian, but Marco flying down. So was I cooking with this being Whitebeard? See, that's why I'm saying I have to either prove or disprove my theory. Because I'm not making anything based on logical sense. It's just how my brain makes jumps and pieces things together. But this is not Laboon either way. Either way, chat, this is not Laboon. I think this whale has something to do with it. I think it does. I really don't believe a random... What, do you think this is made out of wood? This doesn't look like it's made out of wood. It looks like a tree is growing out of it. Check out chapter 967. That theory burnt down more quickly than being in hell itself? No, it didn't. Because even though I'm wrong about that, that doesn't change this fact. This is not Laboon. And whoever said this is Marco flying off of Laboon could be right. This could be the Whitebeard pirate symbolization, the remnants of them joining in. Either way, this isn't Laboon. And everybody was trying to say this whale's Laboon, but it's not Laboon. Go to the part where Rogers and Zoe. Their adventure is so cool. The shit, or the whole bridge too. What if it's King Neptune's whale? It very well could be. Oh, it could be. But you ain't Laboon though. That would make sense why they have spears too. Because don't the Fishman Island guards have spears? Yes! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! That motherfucking whale is not a motherfucking tree! No, it ain't. Look at this. I know how you feel, Odin. You too Captain Roger. It feels like something huge is watching us. And the panel that is on is the tree. They're talking about Zunesha. They would have talked about Zunesha here. They would have talked about Zunesha here. What do you mean? I feel like something's watching us. Of course there's something watching you. You're on a massive ass elephant. It feels like something huge is watching us, and it's literally the eye whale. I feel so unnerved here. I know how you feel, Odin. You too, Captain Roger. It feels something huge is watching us. Momo was talking to Zunesha. I'm not gonna lie, you could be cooking. Brogy did call the red line a snake. Chat, if something made the red line, which would be a serpent into stone, why would this massive whale also not be able to be stone? Because it's not stone? What is this inside here? This could literally be veins. Because we see that it is a tree? Acting like tree growth doesn't grow on top of stone, though. If he is stone and things sprouted on it, trees can grow from stone, exactly. We need to clear up one thing, though. Boa specifically said that if a user turns something to stone, future users will not be able to undo it. Like a forest god, for example. True. See chapter 992. Chat, what chapter did Luffy in? Do we know what chapter Luffy entered Zou? Because maybe he also said something about the whale. I'm with you. I'll follow this agenda that the whale is alive. Thank you. Do you think some random ass tree grows specifically into the shape of a whale? When has One Piece ever done that? Never. When have people lived in whales? When have things turned to stone? Bro, I'm telling y'all, chat. I'm telling y'all. The two who wish to be united but could never be together at last will meet beneath the light of the moon. Their passions run high. She's literally saying it. Lori, this is not burning. Invest in rock whale stocks now. Am I the creator of this theory? If someone had Ryokuku devil fruit awaken, they could turn someone into a tree. What if Boa could undo the whale if she awakens her fruits? Why does it have to be rock? It just looks like rock. It just looks like stone with moss and trees growing out of it. 802 is Zou's entrance. This is the last thing, chat, and then I'm gonna end stream. A green bull's fruit was used to make Zunesha's back a forest. Possibly. This elephant is older than everything. Some people think Chopper has a human devil fruit model forest god. I think so too. My theory is, or not my theory, but I think he ate the mushroom. The all-curing mushroom was his devil fruit. Like 817 now. You may have cooked. Let's see it. Here's the whale. We're gonna climb the whale. Just remember the order of vines to cross, and I'll get you to the top. Chat, you're telling me this pattern on this whale is tree-like? And then the bark growing out of it has a completely different pattern. The closer to the whale, the louder the voice I hear. The voice! The voice has been trying to talk to him. Your disposition is similar to Lord Odin's. There was another man who said much the same thing. That reminded me of him too. The closer they get to the whale, the more they hear the voice. Not the entire island. It's the whale. The voice of all things. Oh! Holy shit! Woo! Oh, baby! Inside the tree with the poneglyph, the room, it's tree, not stone. I'm not denying that growth grew inside of him. But look, they made steps inside of this whale. Do you remember what the inside of Laboon looked like? Instead of stone, it could have just been turned into wood. Look at 821. This fact right here is too damning, chat. The whale is alive and it was conscious. It was somebody. And if the whale is on Zou, that's insane. What does that even mean if the whale is on Zou? The fact that it was a tree was explicitly mentioned. So it probably was just turned to wood. Somebody turned him into wood. The closer to the whale, the louder the voice. Ben said the same thing. He said, look at 821. Forest god? It could be. Maybe Zunesha's punishment wasn't to wander the ocean, but was to protect the whale? The voice is Zunesha. In this case, because Zunesha's getting attacked, Zunesha needs help. Momo literally went into the eye of Zunesha to look at Jack. But before, in the last chapter, they said they heard the voice even louder when they were on the whale. It became appropriately a tree. That's how it's staying alive for the third world. It's literally a time capsule. Furthermore, chat, Momo said it's the same voice again, but they always say it's the same voice. It's the voice of all things. Just like the Sea Kings. You're not going to say the Sea Kings is the same voice. Just because they hear voices doesn't mean anything. Can someone explain the whale tree? Why does it exist? Why is it a whale? It's far too random to exist for no reason. It wasn't even a joke or anything. This is just a whale-shaped tree at the center of a zoo. But why? I'm not saying it's plot-related in any way. Perhaps it is. I just wonder why it's a whale. Remember when they first learned about Crocus and the whale was present, that whale being Laboon? Remember when they entered the world? They were met by a bunch of whales. Same for when they learned about the road poneglyph in the secret Laptil and Zoe. They learned it in a whale structure. Whales have a significant meaning in the story we just don't know yet. That's why the road poneglyph was hidden in the structure, was representing a whale. I don't even think it was a structure, chat. Also, in Orangetown, there's a whale fountain. It resembles that same one. There's a vague line about whales anticipating 2 rulers again. What does that mean? During the Odin flashback? Right after Roger returned from Laughtail. Hold on. Chat. Do we know what chapter this is? Chapter 968. Birthing is at hand. Our sovereign will soon be born, and another in a distant sea. The whale... Wait. Our sovereign will soon be born, and another in a distant sea. The whales are delighted in anticipation of the day the 2 sovereigns shall meet again. We've been waiting for so long, and it's almost here, and surely all will go well this time. Just 10 until the birth, another 15 to grow. Chat, this mural, he and they could not meet again. He and they will surely meet again. The 2 sovereigns shall meet again by whales. Whales, sovereigns, and shanks. The whales are delighted in anticipation of the 2 shall meet again. Theory 1, there are actually 3 sovereigns. And it could even be that whale isn't even a devil fruit user, but it is just a real whale that got turned to stone or wood. Because it doesn't make sense that a whale would be a devil fruit because they have to be on the water. Unless it's such a unique fruit that because whales are buoyant, they can just float on the ocean and just cruise. It could just be a real ass whale like Laboon. What if the meeting is about Luffy and Shanks, a celestial dragon and a D? True. Because Roger's trying to put 2 and 2 together and see if it's the mermaid princess. But what if it was Luffy? Because look, they're already... I don't fucking know, chat. Luffy was born 3 to 4 years later. This is crazy, chat. This is literally fucking insane. I think I cooked with that being a real ass whale. This is not a tree. When has Oda... Does this look like a bark to you? I don't think so. I want you to be right because it'd be really funny. It's very true. Why would Shanks say he would meet Luffy when he becomes a great pirate? It must mean something. Wait, how do we know that Boa can't undo previous users? Because she said it? When? Chapter 1059? She said it to Blackbeard? She could literally be lying out of her ass. After being choked by Blackbeard. Why would Blackbeard want that? Why would Blackbeard want her fruits? If not to undo it. Kill me and your followers will remain petrified. The next wielder of the fruit cannot undo the spell. That could literally be her bluffing to save her ass. Why Boa and not Green Bull? It could easily be Green Bull too. Chat, this could be a tree and it got turned like a little petrified. Look at this. It feels like something huge is watching us. There's moss growing on the bark. Moss doesn't grow on a tree. How did Boa get her fruit again? I'm not sure. But also there is the fact that, chat, I have a question for you. If ancient giants were around, what would they eat? Giant-ass creatures. Look at this. How do you explain the branches on the whale's head then? I would explain it the same way there's branches on this stone snake. See how there's growth on this stone snake? You wouldn't claim that this whole snake is a tree, but it's just a stone that got overtaken when trees took root in it. I think every statue might be actually in your face alive. The stones are alive, dude. Every statue is alive, I'm telling you. What other statues are there? The stone speaks. The rocks. Mr. 3 can also stone people. Mr. 3 literally turned people into wax. He made statues of them. Imagine the wax just aged. Mr. 3's fruit was actually crazy important. If wax aged, it would look like that whale. Maybe. I'm just thinking of different ways it could have happened. Does wax age into rock? I don't think so. Is that a basic ability or an awakening? That's a basic ability. Mr. 3 wasn't even awakened yet. Hold on. Let me look something real quick. The whale doesn't look like wax though, brother. It's been 1,000 years since it's been there. It wouldn't look like anything. It would look super aged like there was a tree on it. Everybody thought it was a tree. I'm just brainstorming different possibilities. So basically it starts here at this panel. And I was talking about this for a long time yesterday. What the fuck? Trying to decipher it. Holy freaking moly. A giant serpent was turned to stone or solidified somehow, and that made the red line. If that made the red line and a massive being got turned to stone, why could this whale not also be a real creature that was turned to stone? But then this got me thinking one more thing. Something that I said a long time ago. Where else have I seen a big ass real living creature that looks like it was turned to stone with lots of foliage and trees growing on it? Kuja or Amazon lily. So we have seemingly unconnected things, but they are without a doubt huge animals that are stone. Do we think somebody carved stone? Are we under the impression that somebody carved this? I don't think so. What would this have been from? We didn't hear anything about a voice on Amazon Lily. That's true. But why would this be here? I just don't know. And that's why I said my theory can just fall off the rails at any given point. But it's all connected. Massive animals that are stone. It would be the whale. It would be Amazon Lily. It would be the red line. And then it got me thinking, well, why would there be massive animals from ancient time? Oh, how big were the people who were living in the ancient times, the ancient giants? What would the ancient giants eat? Giant animals. So everything in the past was huge. Think about our real life history. Bugs used to be like the size of cars. I don't know if it's that big, but literally man-sized bugs. Everything was huge back in the past. And if the world wasn't underwater and there was plenty of space for giants and massive animals, and I don't know how it all gets connected from here, but it's just too coincidental to not be something. So that would mean the sea kings were simple fish? Yeah. They would just be the sea kings that we know that are huge and crazy would just be normal fish that ancient giants ate. I have an idea respecting the whale. The whale isn't alive, but it's a symbol of a promise. When we saw Emeth talking with Joy Boy, the background looked like Zoe. Considering the mural, Zoe was already big 1,000 years ago. Even more, see what the Sea Kings, the whales want them to meet again. Yes, that's true. And then what I was stun locked on was this. I haven't seen this. I was trying to look up something with Momonosuke, right? It's also possible that the mural is just the kids and it's inaccurate. That's true too, but I can't speculate on that. I'm just speculating on what we got. 4 years ago, this person says, what is Momonosuke's connection to whales? And I never seen this panel. I don't even remember this, chat. What is this? Momonosuke was born on the Moby Dick, a ship shaped like a whale. His introduction arc in Punk Hazard begins with us seeing a bunch of island whales. On Zoe, he awoke his voice of all things while communicating with the Zunesha through the whale tree. I don't know. There's definitely something with a whale. And this whale specifically. I believe that Pluton's an organic creature, so maybe a whale? Didn't they say that Pluton's under Old Wano? Search up One Piece whales and let's see if we find something else. There's something to this theory, chat. Every time we see a whale, there's references to Laugh Tale, or just a signs of the right direction or entrance into a new place. First whale we can see is in chapter 8 when Nami steals the map of the Grand Line from Buggy. This is a fountain. It's literally the same whale with the same smile. Second, Laboon is in chapter 102 to 105, and we got first information about Laugh Tale from Crocus. This is the entrance to the Grand Line. The third time, Whitebeard's association with whales. He appears in chapter 551 on Moby Dick, famous whale from the novel, and also mentions the One Piece. Send me this link here. The fourth time, in 551, Whitebeard appears on Moby Dick. 576, Whitebeard declares that the One Piece is real. The fourth time, when the Straw Hats emerge from Sabode to reach Fisherman Island, there's also a little note from Luffy that the whale is Whitebeard itself. A whale, it's a whale. Laboon, no, it's Old Man Whitebeard. I don't know about this one. Fifth time, We can see the whales in Fishman Island. More precisely, the whales are around the sea forest. And there's also a poneglyph. There were two. One was a red poneglyph, right? The ocean forest, deep within the red forest depths. Bro, every time, too coincidental. The sixth time when we see whales when the straw hats enter the new world, they're all banging their head. Look. Seventh time is at Zoe. There's a whale-shaped tree. Inside of it is a red poneglyph. Right? So whales are direction signs. They sign entrances of a new place or signs the right objects. Map poneglyphs. There were until 3 old men with whales who mentioned Laugh Tale One Piece. The Sea Kings also talk about whales being excited for the birth of the mermaid princess. What? Whales love Bink Sake, and Bink Sake is about a journey to Laugh Tale. Laboon never was hitting the red line for the sadness. It's in whales' DNA wanting to destroy the red line. True, because why else would all of these Laboons also be banging their heads? They all do this. Why would they want to break the red line? Giant squid battles! Who says because they hit the red line? Looks just like Laboon's injuries. Wasn't there a theory that said One Piece is something that would allow Luffy to break the red line? What if instead of breaking, it's freezing? It's freeing whatever was frozen into the red line. It's not all of them, that's true, but it is a lot of them. Whale theory runs deep. The fact that Momonosuke was born on that ship? Jinbei is a whale shark. Hidden rule with whale. Inside Laboon's an island and other stuff that Crocus can put in. Can you imagine a whale, but inside is a city? What the fuck is this? Chat, Oda already had the ending of One Piece ready. He didn't think One Piece was going to be going on as long as it did. Neptune and Ho. Dude, Ho is literally the exact same kind of whale too, it looks like. Isn't it like this whale wanted the poneglyph to be inside of him? Why would the Kozuki put a road poneglyph inside of him? There are many old men with whales. But why Whitebeard? The trickiest thing for me to debate in my own head is the fact that it must be a real whale then. It doesn't make sense that it would be a Zoan. I just had a realization I'm pretty sure other people had. Way back when this came out, around 816, when you see the whale tree on Zunesha's back. I was sitting there browsing the One Piece subreddit when I was thinking about Zoe, why it had a whale on it, on its back, why a different species of whale than the island whales we were used to, like Laboon, who was based off of a sperm whale. Island whales seen after exiting Fishman Island. Look, they all have it. They all have their head bashed against. That's wounds from the red line. It's likely that Zoe would have been allied with Fishman, like Wano likely was, due to their shared connection with the ancient kingdom. I figure this is probably due to a reason Oda chose to make the giant tree in Zoe a blue whale instead. I realized it was probably because of the ecology of Zoe, since the way the residence gets food is through the showers. Zunesha gives itself spewing up fish. So the minks are essentially filter feeders like blue whales are with krill. They feed off of the ocean creatures that filter through the canals surrounding the cities. So obviously in hindsight, the reference Oda was going to is putting whale in so it's just a bag. I can't believe I missed it. I feel like there's something more to it, chat. I think Oda's going to have flying whales guide the Straw Hats to Laugh Tale near the end of the story. And besides the road poneglyphs, Bink Sake is the key to get there. Here's my speculation analysis of why. In the game Dragon Quest, the hero summoned a flying whale to help them travel the sky toward the final boss. A flying whale? Could this be the flying whale? The hero summoned a flying whale to help them travel the sky before the final boss. In the game Dragon Quest the 11th, mild spoilers for that game, the hero summoned a flying whale to help them travel the sky before the final boss. It's tied to Yggdrasil. This is before Elbaf was even made. This was 3 years ago. This is tied to Yggdrasil, the ancient legendary tree which is said to be present in Elbaf. Whales are very important to One Piece. Yes, we've seen this. This is also the chapter where we get the name of the log pose when Luffy makes a pact with Laboon and puts his straw hat on him. In chapter 103, it's titled The Whale, and we see Luffy riding on top of Laboon, and it looks like Laboon is flying over the waves. Oh my fucking god! He's literally riding a whale. And this could literally symbolize the Marines trying to stop him and other pirates trying to stop him. But it's Luffy flying regardless to Laugh Tale. There's a windfish looks like a whale like in Dragon Quest. The whale tree and Zoa's pointing toward the sky as a tree almost like it's flying. Maybe Void Century whales flew in the past and something tragic happened to cause this state. Chapter 654, Oda called it Game of Whales. Bro, there's so many, dude, there's too many whale references for this to be anything close to a coincidence. It's about the whales that appear near the Straw Hats that Brook thought was Laboon. Brook starts playing Bing Sake and the whales like it and respond to it. Laboon! And they like it.
So far.
Look, they like it. Grin. Oda put specific focus on the whales in their eyes and the music notes. Then the song is very important. The whales literally put Luffy and his Thousand Sunny on top of their head, and Luffy gets a separate panel saying, "Hey, are you going to give us a ride?" Joy Boy asks that as the whales smile yes with the Bink Sake music notes still playing. Then we see in a death panel of the Bink Sake lyrics, and the whales bring Luffy and the Straw Hat crew to the other side of the Grand Line, the New World, closer to where the One Piece is, or at least is said to be at first. Bro, this is literally this right here. It's them riding whales. The whales literally put Luffy and his Thousand Sunny on top of their head. Yeah. Are you going to give us a ride? So we thought that Laboon just liked Bink Sake just because it was a cute little thing with Brook. But really? All whales love it. They're up to the crew. Look at all of them. And then they make it to the New World. Whales everywhere. You can interpret these pages as whales flying and guiding them, the Straw Hats, where they need to be, getting them closer to Laugh Tale, the final island. In Thriller Bark, one of the most important arcs ever in the series, Brook's backstory calls Bink Sake the song of life, and Luffy the pure of heart, happy-go-lucky pirate like Roger, wanted the musician, which is most likely more important to the story than you think. Is there a doctor on your ship? A doctor, that'd be nice, but a musician should come first, right? Dude. Look at the lyrics of Bink Sake. Chapter 487, titled That Song. The entire chapter is about Bink Sake and why Laboon loves it, and puts a strong emphasis on calling it that song over and over again, and how the Rumbar Pirates are a pirate crew about music, love, and music is all we ask, because that's innocent. What makes you a true pirate? Pirates will sing, right? Like Luffy said. Let's sing that song. That's the pirate song. If it's the pirate song, who's the first ever pirate? Who's the first ever pirate, chat? Moo Kid. Wrong. Joy Boy. Correct. Laboon, you like it too? Brook, sing us another song. As they're about to die, Brook suggested, why don't we die happy and joyful? Why don't we sing? If I do come back to life, I'll bring it back to him, the song from us, our whale friend Laboon. Themes of life and death, whales and music, and Bink Sake. Smiling in the face of death and trying to be happy. Possible ties to the smiling and the D-clan traits. Damn. They spend the entire time smiling to their deaths, joyful, and singing Bink Sake. Panels of Brook here, both alive and dead in terms of being full of skin and now a skeleton. It's time to sound the drums. If we let blow winds of fear, then the end of us is near. Even so, tomorrow the sun will rise again. Gather up all the crew. There's sure to be a moonlit night again. They literally talked about the moon here. Those of the half moon, those of the moon. Luffy smiling in low tongue as a D member upon death. Blackbeard said to be a parallel and opposite of Luffy. The moon is important to One Piece. Predict Laugh Tale will be there and where they will go. Something Laugh Tale is inside of a whale, especially with chapter titles like Enzo and so on with inside Laboon. Regardless of what is true, I think that would make sense. Laugh Tale is inside of a whale. That's why nobody can find it. There might be a bunch of whales nests in Gam family like before. There are no normal pirate would know what to do there and why these whales are there. But Luffy and Brook would know. They would think to sink Bing Sake, and that's the true key to Laugh Tale. And then magical crazy world of One Piece happens, and somehow flying whales bring them to Laugh Tale on the final island. Maybe the flying whales bring them inside another whale or to the moon. Who knows? All I know and feel is flying whales will most likely bring them there with the help of them responding to Bink Sake from Brook and Luffy. Brook is the most important Straw Hat secretly, and Luffy needed him to make it there to Laugh Tale. Whales are probably tied to forests of the Void Century and the Devil Fruit trees, hence the Sea Forest. Brook is the weirdest straw hat that joined. Luffy just immediately asked him to join the crew. I just checked on chapter 1062, page 7. Egghead introduction. There's a hologram of a whale. 1062. Romance Saga 2. That's Oda's favorite game, you said? Right up here. Hey, chat, why did Vegapunk make these? Hey, chat, why did Vegapunk make these? What was Vegapunk researching? Could be cool holograms. There's a dragon fighting a robot. That's interesting. This is interesting, isn't it? Why would he make a robot? Why would he make a giant robot that looks like Emmett? Why would he make a giant dragon? Why would he make giant whales? What if he was trying to recreate through holograms the past? I don't know. Looks something like Emmett though. Does. Also, chapter 59. You also there's a cover of it, right? I think I looked at it yesterday. Oh, I saw this too. This is the moon. This is literally Joy Boy. Today's gonna be a short stream. Fuck. Chat, I'm not having a short stream today, chat. Fuck. This is literally Joy Boy and Emu. I want to know what you're cooking with the Florian Triangle. We talked about that yesterday. What did I say? Oh, the Umibozu, right. Chat, I'm feeling going crazy. I gotta pee. A quote from Laboon's wiki. I don't know if it's important though. This chamber is painted with an unknown material that not only resembles the daytime sky, complete with clouds, but apparently produces its own light. That's crazy.